What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys with the last of the 3-in-1 archetypes being revealed for the Ancient Guardians 3-in-1 deck building set. We will get Ancient Guardians here in the TCG sometime in April, while the OCG gets theirs a month before. So that's very, very close in release date, which the TCG and the OCG has never done when it came to side sets. Main sets, no, because the main sets will probably be about 3 months in between, just due to season. But we have the last of the 3, and this is the Doremichord, and I hope I am pronouncing this right. These are a musical-based archetype. They are pendulum monsters, and each of the pendulum monsters themselves has their very own unique abilities that do work with their own archetype. However, there's some splashable stuff you can do with some of these, especially their boss monster, who we're going to be taking a look at first. And then we will take a look at all the other cards. So, first off of the Doremichord monsters is Doremichord Kula, or Kuli. She is a level 8 wind attribute fairy type pendulum monster. Pendulum scale of 1, 27 attack, 2500 defense. And her pendulum effect says when you pendulum summon a Doremichord pendulum monster or monsters, your opponent cannot activate monster effects or spells or traps. Her monster effect, you can only use the second and third effect of this card's name once per turn each. You can special summon this card from your hand by triggering 2 pendulum monsters. You can target one of your opponent's monsters they control and negate its effects until the end of your opponent's turn. If you have an odd number of pendulum scales in your pendulum zone, you can target 2 cards instead. When an effect of a monster on the field with attack less than or equal to 300 times the highest pendulum scale in your pendulum zone is activated, quick effect, you can destroy that monster. So she is very splashable, especially with her monster effect. She's very splashable. Now let's get on to the rest of the other pendulum monsters. So this is the rest of the Doremichord that have been released. So we have Doremichord Cuta, QT. Okay, I think that's how to play on the word cutie. Okay, so Doremichord QT, or is it Doremichord? Okay, so I think for us it'll be Doremichord, and then for the OCG it's Doremichord, or yeah, Doremichord. I think it's just how it's written. So Doremichord QT, she's a level 1 Earth attribute fairy type pendulum monster, 100 attack, 400 defense, and a pendulum scale of 8. Her effect reads pendulum effect. Your Doremichord pendulum monsters, pendulum summon cannot be negated. You only use this card's first effect once per turn each. If this card is normal special summon, you can add 1 Doremichord pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, except for Doremichord QT. If you have an even number pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, Doremichord pendulum monsters you control gain 100 times the pendulum scale total you control. We have the next Doremichord. This is Doremichord Dreama. She is a level 2 wind attribute fairy type monster. 600 attack, 400 defense, pendulum scale of 7. Your Doremichord monsters pendulum summon cannot be negated. That is her pendulum effect. And her other effect is you can only use her first effect once per turn each. If there is a Doremichord monster in your pendulum zone, you can summon this card from your hand. If you have an odd number pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, and a Doremichord pendulum monster you control would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card instead of one of that or those cards. It should have said one of those cards instead. Bad wording translation, or it might be corrected for us. Alright, the next one up is Doremichord Alita. She's a level 3 water attribute fairy type pendulum monster. Pendulum scale of 6, attack of 11, defense of 14. Pendulum effect, your Doremichord pendulum monsters pendulum summon cannot be negated. I think this is probably a simultaneous effect, so I will not read it unless the pendulum scale effect is changed. For her regular monster effect, you can only use her first effect once per turn each. If this card is normal special summon, you can target one spell attack card your opponent controls and return it to their hand. If you have an even number pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, you take no battle damage involving Doremichord pendulum monsters you control. Next up is Doremichord Fancia. She's a level 4 fire attribute fairy type pendulum effect monster. 1600 attack, 400 defense, pendulum scale of 5. Your door, yeah, okay, so that's simultaneous. Her monster effect reads during your main phase, you can take one Doremichord pendulum monster from your deck except Doremichord Fasa and place it face up in your extra deck. If an odd number of pendulum scales in your pendulum zone and a Doremichord pendulum monster you control will be destroyed by battle, you can destroy this card instead. We have Doremichord Gracia. She's a level 5 water attribute pendulum monster. Pendulum scale of 4, attack of 21, and defense of 14. Um, Pendulum effect. When a pendulum summon of a Doremichord monster or monsters, your opponent cannot activate monster effects, spells, or traps. Pendulum monster effect. When we use this card's first effect once per turn each. When this card is no longer summoned, you can add one Doremichord spell or trap from your deck to your hand. If you have an even number pendulum scale in your pendulum zone and your Doremichord pendulum monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate monster effects until the end of the damage step. Then we have Doremichord Angelia. She is a level 6 fire attribute pendulum monster, 2300 attack, 1400 defense, and she's a scale of 3. Her pendulum effect says, it's similar to the last one. When your opponent pendulum summons a Doremichord pendulum monster or monsters, your opponent cannot activate monster effects or spell or traps. You only use this card's first effect once per turn each. During your main phase, you contribute one Doremichord pendulum monster, and if you do such, summon Doremichord pendulum monster with a pendulum scale that is 2 or higher than the attributed monsters from your deck, except for Doremichord Angelia. If you have an odd number of pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, and a Doremichord pendulum monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell or traps or the effects until the end of the damage step. Then we have Doremichord Butia. She's a level 8 or attribute fairy type pendulum monster. 2500 attack, 2400 defense, and a pendulum scale of 2. When your opponent summons a Doremichord pendulum monster or monsters, your opponent cannot activate monster effects, spells, or traps. You can only use this card's first effect once per turn each. Quick effect. You can target one effect monster your opponent controls, and during this turn, if that card would leave the field, banish it. If you have an even number of pendulum scales in your pendulum zone, you can target one face of spell or trap card your opponent controls instead. Once a turn, start a damage step. When this card battles an opponent's monster with an attack equal to or higher than the lowest pendulum scale in your pendulum zone with a scale times 300, destroy that monster. We've already gone over Doremichord Kulia, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, now we have their spells. We have Doremichord Scale. You only activate one card with this card's name effect per turn. Is continuous? No, it's regular. Okay. Apply the effects in sequence according to the number of Doremichord monsters you control with a different name. 3 or more, return one card from your pendulum zone to your hand. And if you do, place one Doremichord pendulum monster face up in your extra deck to the pendulum zone. If you have 5 or more, special summon one Doremichord monster from your hand. 7 or more, destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls. Oh, wow. Then we have Doremichord Harmonia, field spell. Select, first effect, select and activate one of these effects. You only select one of these effects, a Doremichord Harmonia, once per turn each. Add one Doremichord pendulum monster from your face-up extra deck to your hand. If a Doremichord card is in your pendulum zone, gains pendulum scales equal to its level until the end of this turn. If you control 3 or more Doremichord monsters with different names and have an odd number of pendulum scales, or that even number of pendulum scales, you can destroy one of your opponent's one card your opponent controls. The trap card, Doremichord Musica. You activate one of this card's effects once one card with this card's name per turn. Select one of the following effects due to the Doremichord monsters you control. The pendulum scale of the Doremichord pendulum monster you control. Odd number, says someone Doremichord monster with an odd number pendulum scale from yourself in your extra deck. Even, such as summon one monster with an even number pendulum scale from your base up in your extra deck. And the last effect is both even and odd. Target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. We have Doremichord Fiend Formal. Continue counter trap. Activate this card with this card's name once per turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect or an effect, a monster spell or trap effect, and you control a Doremichord monster in your pendulum zone, you shuffle one pendulum monster face up from your extra deck into your deck, then apply these effects. Pendulum monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's card effect. Cards in your pendulum zone cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effect. Cards in your pendulum zone cannot be banished by your opponent's card effect. And then the reprint is Wavering Eyes. So pretty much, sorry for these add-ons, pretty much it's a solid pendulum deck. That's literally what it is. They're all fairy type, they're all various attributes, and they pretty much cater to protecting monsters of their archetype. Despite the fact that their boss monster, she is legitimately a generic monster. You can fit her into practically everything with her monster effect. As far as their pendulum effect goes, yeah, they are simultaneously between each other. You have those who can protect each other from being destroyed by card effects. You have those who protect them from being targeted and destroyed by monster effects. You have a lot of the circumvent everything is pretty much based off of I need a Doremichord monster to do other things, and then it depends on the odd or even scale, which that's not too bad either. And I think for the range of these monsters, do they have at least a one? They have a level one, but do they have a one? I don't think they have a one. They don't have a one. They have a three, a two. No. The boss monster, Kulia, she is a one. So that is it the highest scale? I think is an eight. Yeah, the highest scale is an eight. So that's not too bad either because she's yeah, you can stretch this out with one of these monsters effects, which is fine as well. This is very solid. I honestly, if I graded this, I give this a good A because this is pretty much pendulum spam and a lot of good offensive and defensive effects. Their counter trap is amazing. They have really good. They have really good synergy with a lot of their cards. I can't wait to see how this deck plays out because this is pretty much a very revamped version of Pendulum. This and just off of the stuff they've already announced for this archetype, yeah, this is gonna be great because we do have what is it, Draco Slayer, the Draco Overlord, and Master Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, both being printed to help support this deck. Yeah, this is gonna be crazy. Um, Love the artwork, very magical girl with um your twist of music, which I think a lot of people wanted it was a music-based pendulum archetype. I mean, we did get it with the symphonics, but now we have one literally with a hit of magical girl. So, if anything, yeah, I would say definitely invest in this because pendulum is still good, even though pendulum took the big hit with the revised revisions and of course with Master 4 in its revised revision. So overall, just let me know what you guys think of Doremichord. Do you think this is going to be I'm sorry, Doremichord, or is it Doremichord? It's probably both, because OCG and TCG are going to change the names, and TCG is going to probably change the name anyway. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this archetype. Will you be playing this archetype? What other pendulum support would you like to see get reprinted to support this archetype? And much more. Leave all that in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. HPJ signing out. Take care.